I consider myself kind of a survivor of many things I've been through that shook me, tried to bring me down, and I didn't let them. I don't know if the saint came down and said, let's calm this girl down, let's make her believe again that she knows how to do it, that she knows how to host a show. I heard so many no's, so many no's that I thought it was my problem. I hosted 3 Oscars, 6 Grammys, and interviewed more than 100 Hollywood celebrities.
I was getting...
Too old for them.
In your book, you teach women how to deal with menopause a lot.
So many symptoms, irritability, a million, brain fog, I'm talking to you here, boom, hot flashes, which are those heat waves, insomnia, loss of libido, everything. I said, I want to follow my dream and do more. If things go wrong in a year, I can always come back. Maria Cândida, we love you. After 3 years, I was broke and searched everywhere for a job, even asking if I could return.
How many of your problems are due to being a woman? How did it feel when you lost all your money?
To the point where you couldn't even buy groceries for your house online. At that time, I was already considered old. Not because of my age, but because of my language for television. I was very young. And from then on, I understood that I was a content creator.
The casting couch is real. The director of that company is expecting you to seduce him, that's for sure.
I don't discuss that in my life. I just say I was let go.
I'll check Wikipedia to see when you were let go.
I've decided I'm in control of my career and life.
You don't want anything to do with the company.
Or television either.
Get to the point. I'm only interrupting because the phone is ringing. Do you want to return to television?
Hi.
Alright, so here's my plan. This whole thing about being fired still bothers me to this day, but Aparecida Television saved me. It really saved me. I don't know if it was the saint. You'll tell me if it was the saint or not. The saint is present in the television. I'm at a point where maybe I'll make a lot of money next year.
I see people all the time saying they forgot to subscribe to the channel or that they didn't even remember to do it. So let me ask you a favor. Subscribe to the channel. And if you really like our show, turn on the notification bell and share this episode with at least 3, 4, or 5 people. If you can, then look, thank you very much for subscribing and for being part of our community and the history of this channel. Hey guys!
There's no envy of motherhood or lactation, no envy of body fat or menstruation. There's only envy of longevity, of multiple orgasms, and of multiple orgasms. I'm the man with loose skin over muscle. I'm the man with thick hair in my nose.
My guest is a mythbuster, a courageous woman who, upon turning 50, decided to reinvent herself. And by doing so, she also began to reinvent the lives of thousands of other women. She is a feminist who fights against ageism. Whether in journalism or wherever it may be, she wants to show that reaching 50 can be just as enjoyable, or even more so, than other stages of life, when the skin is softer and the muscles are firmer. My guest talks about the body, stripped of any old or preconceived ideas. She started her successful career at a very young age, driven by her competence and also by her stunning beauty. She was the weather girl on Journal National, and during her international trips as a reporter, she interviewed people from Meryl Streep to Morgan Freeman. That's right. She rose like a meteor. But there was also a day when she fell like an asteroid, needing to rediscover the meaning of her existence here on Earth. What she did turn the game around. Ara Bolas left television, started a production company, and began talking about things as unspeakable as the unfiltered body. Sex at 50, or the abyss of insecurity that comes with menopause. In today's show, we're going to understand how it's possible to revolutionize women's lives as they get older. Maria Cândida, you may come in.
You love me, right? Yeah, this could be the summer of our lives now, honey. Give it to me like you know you should now, baby. This could be the summer of our lives.
Be the of our. Be the.
I have this one here.
You have that one. You brought Lobas, which is for ages 40 to 50, and this one here, Menopause.
Let's talk about all of them.
How nice. I loved all this look, all this, right? This Chan had to be different, right?
It had to be, didn't it?
You're smart, so you already know that
So sad. I nearly chose the red cup and almost got it right. No, I wanted it to match you.
You thought lilac matched me? I didn't go. It's too sweet for me.
Producer Anna Christina said, no, she really likes these colors.
I like them too. I do, but there's something about me. I'm not gentle, right?
About the colors on the cover that she mentioned. That's how it is.
We still chose pink, nude, and so on because they're more feminine colors, right?
Girls wear pink and boys wear blue.
That still happens, but no one mentions it, right?
That bothers me. No, it's okay. Pink animal for girls and blue for boys.
Of course it bothers me. Oh, it bothers me, of course it bothers me. No, it doesn't have to be like that. You should wear whatever you want, at any age. Come on, no way. We're living in a time of so many genders, so much diversity. Aren't you open to that? And ignoring people who want different genders or to do other things. Anyway, just imagine wearing whatever I want. I'm over 50, nobody's going to tell me what I can wear. If I want to be naked, actually, if I don't say something, I've already been naked. At 50, I did a nude photo shoot. Nothing was exposed. I wanted to challenge stereotypes.
But what do you mean nude without showing anything?
No, nothing was showing, just something sensual that showed the whole body.
Your details it showed?
It showed. And then the cover photo that must be on my Instagram. It's me from behind and I was naked and we put it naked. 50 or 50 years, something like that on top. So you couldn't see. But first I thought it was really beautiful. Some women sent me messages saying they would love to have sensual photos at that age. Like a photo taken, a photo by a photographer and all. And some of my friends too, who have already done it.
Afterwards, they followed you.
I don't think so, because sometimes there's no money, it's missing. You want to, but you just don't go, right?
The main point is you do it and set an example.
I want to, and that's part of my personality.
You showed up with 2 new books. The last time we met, I was trying to remember the date. And it was nice that you signed the book for me. When we met here in São Paulo in 2017, you were in your asteroid phase, weren't you?
I was starting at Television Aparecida, wasn't I?
You were already at Television Aparecida.
I was at Television Aparecida, but Television Aparecida saved me. I don't know if it was the saint. You'll tell me, was it the saint or the television? No, the saint is part of the television. I don't know if the saint came down there and spoke. Let's calm this girl down. Let's make her believe again that she knows how to do it, knows how to host a show, knows how to be in charge, knows how to interview. I had completely lost my professional self-esteem. I heard so many no's, that I thought it was my problem. I was 43 or 44 then.
That was the beginning of the decline? What marks the decline?
is my financial breakdown. That marks the decline. Why? Just so everyone, including you, understands. When I took the trip, right? We'll talk about other trips I'm taking. But when I took this trip to interview 144 women around the world,
This one is already done.
this one is done. That's it. It was a show I did for record in 12 episodes in 2009, and then I traveled through all the continents, right? Except Oceania. So I went to South Africa, I went to the Philippines, Thailand, Vietnam, then I went up to Finland, Lithuania, France, the Netherlands, then I went to Latin America, Peru, Mexico. It's because I'm looking at the map, that's why I'm hesitating.
All of this was for record.
All of this was for Record Independente, produced independently. But I managed to convince the people there to do this show called 12 Women. There were 12 women interviewed, 12 countries,
12 apostles.
12 apostles, 12 female apostles from Maria Cândida. Maria Cândida has something I didn't know, but then I saw Maria Cândida has 12 letters. Can you believe it? So then, after I came back, there were 3 interviews. 2 interviews with women who changed their lives. It was a total immersion in this feminine world. I said, what am I doing on television? I left television because I didn't want to keep doing the same thing.
You wanted to leave.
I wanted to leave.
You resigned from record?
I quit the record. And what did you say?
There.
I said that I wanted to follow my dream. I wanted to make a show about Brazilian women, not just around the world, because Brazil. Can you imagine not taking advantage of all the diversity you have? There are such interesting women here. And that I would go after sponsorships and everything. I wanted to try to negotiate with them and sell to them. They asked why I wanted to leave and what for. I told them I wanted to write my book, and they responded, "Oh, write the book while you're here." I said I wouldn't be able to because I had interviewed those women who were so disruptive, so much themselves, so different, and the internet didn't exist like it does today, so we didn't see those women. So it was the first time I saw people who were doing what I wanted to do.
Before Me Too.
Way before Me Too, 2009.
I'm kind of less about this trip.
This book is the result of that trip.
After the dismissal,
It wasn't a dismissal, I didn't quit. After I left, yes, then I rented an office. Imagine me with a bunch of people hosting the show and everything. I locked myself in an office just for that.
that was in 2010.
I finished that trip. At the end of 2009, the 12 Women, this episodic show, aired until December 2009, 2010, March. I left Record. I started writing the book. I separated in May 2010 because I was trying to organize things. What made sense to me? Television didn't make sense. My marriage, which was good but wasn't working anymore, didn't make sense to me anymore, so I felt strong when I made all those decisions. To really break away and say, no, I'm leaving now, I was nearly 40 years old.
Coincidentally, it was right when I turned 40, so...
It's not a coincidence, because at this moment, when a lot of women rethink things at 38, I was 38 years old. Oh, for women in general, should I have kids or not? Is my career worth it or not? How do I balance everything? How's my marriage with a young child? That's when the slowdown begins, as I mentioned in my second book, Lobas. In 2023, the physical slowdown begins, and this slowdown will cause muscle loss, a slower metabolism, and you start to gain weight. Hormonal drops can occur before menopause, as perimenopause can start then. So this midlife crisis is really everything happening at once for women.
Guys, you were already talking about these issues long before I even heard about them. So were you already thinking about what you do today?
Yes.
You began preparing this path back in 2018, whether you knew it or not.
When I actually started, coming back after that, it was here that I launched Mulheres que Brilham, that I got divorced, that I left Record. I said I wanted to follow my dream. And then an executive said to me, I told him, I said, do you understand that I want to follow my dream? I want to do more things and all that. He said, kind of, and then I said, if in a year everything goes wrong, can I come back? Of course. Maria Cândida, we love you here. Of course you can come back. After 3 years, I was broke and searched everywhere for a job. Even asked if I could return. No.
No one would answer me.
The same person wouldn't answer me, wouldn't respond, and pretended not to see me, you know? But that's what happens. I thought, for example, since I worked at several television stations like Sistema Brasileiro de Televisão, where they called me Silvio Santos Darling. And I thought those names the press gave me were real, but they're not real. It's like being invited to a celebrity party, you know, the ones for celebrity kids. When you're on television, they invite you, but when you're off television, you're cut from the list. Back when Cara's magazine existed, well, it still exists, but everyone used to read it. People would invite you because you were from the media, or this person or that person. I saw this often after leaving television.
They slammed the door in your face.
They slammed it, so what? I spent 2.5, 3 years trying to make this project of Brazilian women work, to open doors, to get support through the law. But I had to go after companies, and I went after a lot of companies that loved the idea, but would say this: we want to invest in women, but this year we're investing in women's ballet. You see, it wasn't a diversity program. I was in diversity.
Ballet, real ballet.
Ballet?
Your subject wasn't interesting, and even the ballet wasn't.
I would have a ballerina woman, but my plan was to get into this diversity by state, you know? To interview these 12 from each state anyway, to do this whole program in Brazil. And the diversity people talk about today, I was already looking for it back in 2010.
Diversity?
Diversity, of course, age diversity, racial diversity, gender diversity, in short, all kinds of diversity, or almost all kinds of diversity. Then I couldn't get any money and spent all my savings from 20 years of work.
What was it like to go broke? How was it for you? To go broke financially?
To go broke financially. For example, selling your apartment, selling your car. Only after 10 years was I able to buy a car. After television Aparecida, I was able to buy a car, and I didn't even buy a new apartment. Cheaper, you sold it for less?
You bought a cheaper one to save money, right?
But deep down, I didn't save any money because I was paying off debt. Every time. Because I'm the kind of person that when I set my mind to something, I go, 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 go. I truly believed in that project. It's wonderful, and I'm still going to do it. I just kept putting in my own. I didn't know how to manage that. I wasn't an entrepreneur. Today, I consider myself an entrepreneur, but I had to fail back then, like many entrepreneurs. I was a television reporter who became a host with a dream to make a show, you know? And I kept knocking on doors, and after 3 years, I ran out of money. My mom and my aunt, for example. They would buy groceries for me and leave them when I wasn't home on top of on my kitchen table. So you wouldn't feel embarrassed. It was to spare me embarrassment. And imagine someone who, for 20 years, hosted 3 Oscars, 6 Grammys. Reporter, always doing the best things. I interviewed more than 100 Hollywood celebrities among them. Producers like James Cameron, who made Titanic. Yeah, there's a list here. Then you get to a point where you can't even do your own grocery shopping.
What a mess, right?
It was really tough.
Depression.
I had multiple episodes of depression during this time, which I discuss in the 3rd chapter along with mental health. But you know, Rodrigo, that helped me so much. Now I see it. If I hadn't fallen so hard, I wouldn't have understood that I would still be believing in people. That kind of naive thing. Believing in companies. I don't believe in any company or any television network, and I like them all, but I don't believe in them. You're there in the moment to satisfy, and if someone new comes in and says, this isn't good, you leave. You could be Fausto and you leave, you know? When you don't meet the requirements they want, you leave. But we believe it, you know? We who aren't a company, we who aren't business owners, deep down, it's not their fault, no.
Which requirements didn't you meet back then?
I was getting old at 43 years old.
I wasn't the weather girl anymore.
I was no longer the weather girl. I was getting old. For them, I heard. You are to those I managed to talk to because I looked for a lot of jobs, I would hear. You are too expensive, Maria Cândida. And I hadn't even said if I wanted to earn 1 real or 1,000,000 reais. Or, you're too good, you've probably heard that before, you're too good, you've already done so much. I have nothing to give you here. I was at a level.
I can see people.
I was at a level where like I would accept being an editor, being a producer just to have a steady job. And I knew like, I know that anywhere I go, I grow because I'm a very dedicated, studious person. I know what I'm doing. I master communication. So it's just a matter of time. For me to grow, I just needed an opportunity. And most women at this stage who are in a career transition between 40 and 50, many who are already separated and suddenly lost. Separating often means losing financial stability. Even if you're not fully dependent on him, you are affected because you have to divide assets.
Separation is a financial tragedy.
It's a financial tragedy, exactly. So several of these women I talk to today, when I tell this story, they say, you described what I'm going through. You said exactly what I'm experiencing. That's it. So when I talk to them, for small entrepreneurs about going broke, having no money at all, believing in a product, or in my case, the product was the program. They believe in products, in commercial products, in a clothing store and so on, but it's the same thing. I was trying to turn it into a television show that I really believed in, and that was also a mistake of mine. I thought, no. I saw the internet, but I didn't recognize the internet as something really good or important that would make a total change.
So, how much time do you think you lost?
7 years, 7 years. It was in 2018 that I started using my phone.
I said it was after our 2017 meeting that I noticed a change and said, she's moving.
It was in 2018 then, but I was only able to move once my professional self-esteem got back to where it should have never left.
Yes, but how is it?
It returned because Television Aparecida gave me this opportunity.
It was real, Santina. That's how it was.
Yeah, it was Santinha. It's not that I wasn't working. I did some gigs on Amori Jr. I did, some reports here and there. I went on a terrible reality show where I met celebrities that I hated working with. But why? Why did I go in? Because I wanted to go back to record and I thought it was the only way for them to notice me more and all that.
Not at record. Yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't lead to anything.
It didn't lead anywhere since I was fired. In the third case, you got a 21-day job. No, I got into a fight, but there were some issues there. But it was a program that wasn't about marketing. I thought it was about marketing and it didn't work out. I felt really bad doing those things.
I don't want to stop understanding now or later how many of your problems were due to being a woman.
I think 80%, yeah. Yes.
Where is it? Can I understand that?
First thing, after this book, I tried to create the Brazilian Women's Program. It's hard for you to approach men, even though it's supposed to be easy. If you're seducing...
That totally works.
Of course it works.
Is the company director expecting you to seduce him?
Isn't he expecting to see a beautiful woman? Is he expecting me to be super sweet and gentle? He's not expecting a businesswoman, you know?
Is he expecting you to be easy for him?
I don't know. It depends on the guy. It happens. It really depends on the guy. It happened a lot in my life.
Some company director wanting to take advantage.
Wow, I was fired because of...
Because you didn't want to?
Yes, I was fired. I don't talk about it. I just say that I was fired. It was the only time in my life that I was fired because I didn't go out with someone.
So, I'm going to check on Wikipedia when you were fired, and I'll find out.
All right, you can find out, but it won't come from me because that person is still very powerful and I don't want any trouble. See the fear we have.
Can you imagine? The casting couch test is real.
Of course it exists.
Women are still invited to take this test.
Yes, but it's not the casting couch test, even though there's a couch here. Before, I wasn't in show business, but I think the couch actually existed back then, right? I'm saying it existed. There was a couch there. It was right at the television station. Now it's like, oh, let's have some wine. Let's go. No, what about this and that? And then you go, if you're interested, okay, because I've already gone out with someone who was above me, who I was really into. But when I said no, then
Everything fell apart.
things collapsed. It's not that simple. That taught me to never again in my life get involved with someone who is my superior.
Never. I began this story while you were outside. singing a beautiful, interesting Caetano song. You heard it.
I heard it's beautiful.
He says he doesn't envy motherhood or lactation. He doesn't envy body fat or menstruation. But he does envy longevity and multiple orgasms. Man is history's problem.
I don't think man is the problem in history. We're human, we're here. The problem is men's behavior. I don't think it's the existence of men. It's the same thing we say, like there's video games, so video games are making all the kids stay on their phones. No, that's not it. It's that there isn't a code of respect. Since we come from a patriarchal structure where the woman is the one who has the child, physically, we are the ones who have the child. The woman is the one who has the child. The woman is usually the one who stops working to take care of these children. At this moment, the man is advancing professionally. At this time, when the woman is still young, 35, 32, 37, 38. It's the time when the man can go to a happy hour. I'm not talking about a happy hour to mess around. I'm talking about a business happy hour. The woman can't because she has a small child. It's the time when the man can travel to a conference. Usually the woman can't because she has the child and all that, or she has to have a really great partner and everything they do has to be very well divided. So at this moment, it's the time you have. For a woman to come down here and get back on her feet again is very difficult. It takes at least 5, 7...
Usually after motherhood.
I think the point that crosses and interrupts this woman is motherhood. I'm a mother who loves it. I waited until I was 34 to have a child because of my career. Waited for what? To get pregnant? Oh.
Waited until later.
I waited until later. If my ex-husband hadn't suggested having a child, I might have waited even longer. Because especially in our profession, where we travel, where we have to be available all day, in a way, and we need more time for so many things. It's not easy being a mother.
So I can conclude, tell me if I'm right, that if your downfall happened around 40 and you got pregnant at 34, was it the pregnancy that started to lead you to that downfall?
With the pregnancy, I stopped traveling and doing the interviews I used to do. Besides that,
The Hollywood base incident happened before that, so
it went on until my daughter was born. After that, I got an afternoon show. It was called Afternoon Show. First, it was called All About It. Then it became Afternoon Show. And I stayed on that show for about 3 or 4 years, which was a show inside the studio. I'm someone who's really more outside the studio. I like to go after things.
You fit right in at the studio with that smile.
Energy, but the studio is more of the same. The studio, even the people who go as the audience, they're selected. And they clap, people clap, there's no truth, and I'm all about truth, about disruption. I understand all of this now at 50, and now I'm gathering all this power of mine and I'm using it for myself. Before, I used parts of my power, you know? I was building a puzzle. I turned 50 and I said, this here, they won't do this to me anymore. This here, I control this now. No one is going to belittle me anymore. Blah, 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 you know? All right then. That's why I feel so strong, because all this building up, it's very real. It's very analytical. Like, it's even about analyzing, like going deep down, you know? Being fired still really bothers me even now. The trauma comes up a lot in therapy. So, going back, I don't think it was motherhood, but I think most women, when they become mothers, in jobs that demand a lot from them, they can't perform anymore. Unless they have really, really great partners and the job is a bit organized. When I was in the studio with my little daughter, everything was fine, but I didn't feel as free as I liked to be.
My impression, the way I see it, is that you look more beautiful and more powerful now than before. Do you feel that way too?
Totally, totally. That's what I'm telling you. It's not just about physical beauty. It might even show physically, but it's a certainty. It's a certainty. When I speak, I don't mumble, you know? Isn't that right? It's either A or B. It's not A, B, that's it. It's either A or B. Anyway, everything becomes clearer. It's like a portal. Imagine a portal, like in those sci-fi movies, a portal. It opens up for you and says, hey, now it's your turn. Now no one can bring you down.
Did you see this portal opening? Do you remember that day or not? It was a day.
It wasn't just one day. It wasn't just one day. It's been opening up. It's been opening up. But I realized it was never like that I always evolved in small steps. So at one point, I was a great professional, okay, then at another moment, but there was always something that intercepted me. You know, my rise. And it was my fault, because not just the system's fault, but my fault too, because I didn't have enough strength to say no, not this, no, because it's not easy to get out of the system. And when you're trained in an analog version, because we are analog, I was born in 1971. We didn't understand this. We didn't even know this new world existed. And when the new world arrived, we didn't see it as something possible for us.
It was distant and didn't interest us, right?
No, because as journalists, we're not going to be influencers or content creators. At Globo, everything was fine. I didn't have any issues with Globo because the first phase of my career was there.
Which was from what year to what year? 94.
I took a short break, went to record, then returned to Globo from 96 to 98. Then I went to the United States, you know, tried to do a bunch of things, and then I went to Bloomberg, which is television. I lived in New York for a year, returned to Sistema Brasileiro de Televisão reporter, then spent about 6 years at Sistema Brasileiro de Televisão, then about 6 or 7 years at Record 2. I left of my own free will. I tried these projects for 3 years. All of them failed. I went into chaos, with depression, with everything, with low self-esteem. I even hired a headhunter at that time because I said it's not possible.
You paid a headhunter even without money.
No, I went after someone who could help me. I don't really remember, but it was someone people told me was nice and all. I said, I want to have a meeting with you, so I had a meeting with this guy. I said, look, I'm the person who traveled all over the world. I'm the person who, not just because I traveled all over the world, I have the total ability to do pretty much anything in a company. The companies want that moment. 15, 16, they want diversity. They want people who are different from what they had before. This talk isn't, they have this talk, but it's still just talk. Oh, yes, it is. It's the same thing as ageism, you know? Some already have age diversity policies, hiring older people 90 or more, no. And this talk about modernity, diversity. Back in 2015, 2016, I went to a headhunter and said, look, I am fully capable of working at a company, but he didn't know. I figured since I'm not good on camera anymore, I'd work behind it instead.
Did you think you weren't good for being on camera?
Totally. I took a corporate communication course at GV because I was thinking about a second career behind the camera. I enjoy business. So I thought, wow, a big company, it's going to be great. But then the guy gave me some feedback. He said, look, I couldn't get any company and all that.
The headhunter said nothing's available.
You don't have anything for you because you didn't build a career in a company. So they want people who are like that. I don't even know how to sell you.
Sorry, it's too late. You're old.
Nobody said it, you're old. But I hadn't built a career in a company, right? In a company, in a corporation. So they didn't even have the name. It's like that. So what is she going to do? No one invests. Everyone goes for what's certain. And that's where there's a big opportunity first for those who don't just go for what's certain. Like me, suddenly deciding to take a chance. It's not true you'll only lose or make a lot of money. I'm at a point where maybe I'll make a lot of money next year. I'll explain it to you later. Then I'll invite everyone to do other things. But anyway, the people who saw the game and who either win a lot are people who tried. In a big company, she doesn't try, she goes by the book.
The larger the company, the less she tries.
She works at a television company, but prefers not to try too hard, or have many people telling her what to do or urging her to make things happen. She dislikes people who hover and give too many ideas, since everything is moving along.
You know what I've heard at Globo, Rodrigo? You don't need to bring any more projects. We have projects for you.
That's absurd. And what was the project for you? Not even a year.
Damn, just keep going for a while. Let's see what happens.
So they used to call me very anxious.
I've heard that too.
You're very anxious. Television time is different, so calm down. Go use your health insurance, go with yours. It's because health insurance, now you have health insurance, that's the thing, right? You may not earn much, but you have health insurance, so be happy, but I won't be happy no matter what. Since 2018 or 2019, I decided to take control of my career and life.
You want nothing to do with companies.
Not even television, except to sell products on it. Now I can...
Yeah, daughter, not a chance.
No, not a chance. Because, I don't see myself in that role anymore. I don't see myself hosting a show, being a special reporter for a show. I just don't see myself like that. And if I do that, I'll just be delaying my dream. My wish, which has been the same since 2010, is to make shows around the world and create documentaries, documentary series, and sell them.
I see here, I think I have a vision. I'm seeing something kind of magical in front of me here. That's telling me Amazon Prime, Netflix. One of those, man.
I want the foreign ones for sure.
It's coming soon. That's not it. That's for next year.
Not sure if I can sell. Yes,
That's the idea.
that's the idea.
Did you record the documentary? I did, but it isn't published yet, right? No.
No, but I haven't seen any photos.
I have them here, look.
You have photos, but not the documentary. You really do have photos, right? I think it was in Peru. That's it. There was some money involved, which was an investment from a company.
An investor angel company.
Not a company, because I joined the Rouanet Law, okay? So I joined the Rouanet Law. I got 930,000, and I got 515,000. A company made an investment.
It's important to say the numbers this way. It's something, but not a concern. When people hear about the Rouanet Law, they think you're getting rich and taking government money.
The Rouanet Law is actually a nightmare. Everything you do, you have to justify it in an absurd way. I saw it, I even had a stamp like this. The team would eat there and still, I lost. Why? Because the team would always have a beer or something like that and pay for it there. No, I didn't know that under the Rouanet Law, alcohol isn't allowed, so all those receipts didn't count. Anyway, yeah, you have to, it's super annoying and detailed. I hire a company every month to help with this accounting because they look at the receipts and ask, what was this receipt for, you know? So,
Some Rouanet law funds are used to justify the law itself.
Exactly. Oh, I see, yeah, I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, it is. And the other part I haven't received yet, and I put in my own money, you know?
And did you travel to where I traveled?
First, we're starting to go into menopause then.
We're in menopause already, not traveling. Menopause is the journey.
Right? Yeah, menopause, it's a menopause without borders. Let's go.
I won't get into it, since menopause won't happen to me, but I'll go with you.
Go on, Andropause, go on.
I'll go with you. I'll hold your hand and travel with you. Let's go.
So, or do you want to go back to 2018 so we can do something more linear?
I want to follow your flow.
My flow. Okay, so the streaming flow that I'm going to sell, even if it takes 5 years, but I'm going to sell it. And to foreigners who pay well because I want, foreigners who are going to pay me well, and then money will come in, then I'll start to breathe. I went into menopause at 48, I'm 54 now, and I had a lot of symptoms like irritability. It's like 1,000,000 times worse. If premenstrual syndrome is bad, it's 1,000 times worse than premenstrual syndrome. Tiredness, fatigue to the point where I wanted to lie down at 5 in the afternoon, and I'm usually energetic, but I was lying down with no energy at all. Mental fog, forgetfulness. I'm talking with you, and suddenly my thoughts just stop. It still happens. But since I know myself, I already understand it, so people like you would notice. But sometimes, like during a lecture, I just stop, like I totally blank out. I say, oh my God, then change the subject and no one notices.
That's menopause.
That's menopause. That's a symptom of menopause. Insomnia, loss of libido, everything. I had almost 70 symptoms during perimenopause before actually entering menopause. In fact, I had at least, I think, about 15 symptoms, right? So that was so crucial for me to understand that a woman at this stage who is transitioning in her career or who is seeking her own money and needs to work hard, like really hard, needs to work a lot. If she has all these symptoms, she won't be able to do it. That's another point where she'll be intercepted. Remember motherhood, intercepted, and here intercepted again, and always during hormonal moments. Look how crazy it is during puberty. We get to the girl in my time, not today, right? But the girl in my time. Embarrassment, oh my God, pads, we would never talk about pads. We would be embarrassed if blood showed and all that, and we never treated our bodies in a relaxed way. My daughter, who's 20 now, deals with it and we talk about it, but back then it was never easy. In motherhood, no one ever teaches us, like, I had postpartum depression, there are hormonal issues involved. It's another moment when suddenly you have to protect yourself for that time and forget about everything else. Because honestly, maybe you can't do everything. Do this well. No one ever tells us that. And in menopause, more than 80% of women are caught off guard. Since I was caught off guard, I thought, my God, I read, I keep up with things and all, and I was still surprised. Imagine how many women go through this shock.
You weren't expecting it either, right? It was too soon for you?
It wasn't early. That's the average age Brazilian women start. The average age for entering menopause is 50 years old in Brazil, and in the United States, it's 52.
Let's compare Brazil with other countries.
Brazil and other countries, I don't know yet because I'm still investigating. That's my research. Because in Menopause Sem Fronteiras, in this documentary and docuseries, I'm traveling around Latin America. Next year, I'm going to Africa, then Asia and Oceania. I'm going to do what I wanted to do in 2010, but now with menopause, because that's the stage I'm in now. If I was 70, I'd discuss different things.
And at 70, you'll discuss different things.
I will. Menopause lasts until 2029, since what I mentioned was in 2026. It will be Africa, where I will find the women from where the enslaved women brought to Brazil came from, and I will make that genetic connection.
Congo and Angola.
I'm still analyzing that because it will be in July and August. I'm still finishing the editing of this first documentary, Latin America, from which I've already learned a lot. In terms of organization, team, and film editing, because editing a news piece is not the same as editing a film. You record without color, so everything needs a specific color grading, post-production, and the audio has to be completely fixed. You need someone to do the soundtrack, someone else to edit. It's not just a simple editor. Anyway, I'm learning all of this because it's my first time.
Are you saying you're doing it expertly? Yes, because recording without color means using raw format, which is very high quality. I didn't know about it. It takes up a lot of storage and must be expensive.
Yeah, it does. It was 80 hours. And when I found myself at that moment with so many symptoms and being interrupted, and my daily life, especially my professional daily life, was really affected, I said, I need to investigate this further because this must affect women a lot. And then I started my research on menopause.
Menopause is more or less like something squeezing you all the time, crushing you. It's a bit like that. It's a constant oppression.
Menopause is like it takes you out of the place where you are, and that's how you feel. Imagine when your body no longer responds exactly the way it should, and then it becomes confusing. So, for example, you're used to having energy until 8 at night, and suddenly at 5 in the afternoon, you're exhausted. You've always had a not-so-perfect train of thought, but you used to have a coherent start, middle, and end, and suddenly you're at work, presenting a project, and you lose track.
Then someone says this woman is crazy.
The men likely say, so what? A woman who works with a lot of men, and men who are not her partners, she can be disqualified. She gets very vulnerable. Imagine the hot flashes, those waves of heat that come up. The woman starts sweating. Even during interviews, they're wiping themselves with a cloth. Some women have a lot of hot flashes, the hot flashes. It doesn't give you any warning. It can come at any moment. It could happen right now. And I start sweating. And I say, oh, it's so hot, my goodness. And I want to take my clothes off. Even if it's cold, you want to take your clothes off because it's so hot. Imagine yourself in a meeting presenting a project, trying to pitch my documentary to a panel of 7 people.
And then this thing happens. I didn't even know the name of it until now.
I learned the word hot flash today, and it's bochorno in Spanish, bochornos, which I also just learned in Spanish.
Boche means beetle, which is why you feel a beetle sensation in your body.
No, I don't know. Are you going there? I think it's cool that you're investigating andropause. Why? Because no man has ever done that. Do you know how men start to notice andropause?
Go ahead, because I am, and I don't know.
You have erectile dysfunction?
Don't you?
Anna hasn't complained yet.
There's no complaint.
You start to feel tired and all that, but that usually happens around 58 or 60 years old. It's not common.
Oh yeah, it's later on.
And ours involves a lot of hormones. It's a lot, especially because we already had kids, you know? Imagine the hormonal level, how hormones are in our bodies. Yours, not yours, then you do testosterone replacement, which isn't to get buff, it's just to balance things out, and then things go back to normal, but men also feel hot. But not this crazy thing.
I wanted to ask a question that I think is really interesting and will help me understand.
You talked about puberty, motherhood, and menopause, yes. And men will only feel something similar later, almost at 60.
It's almost at 60.
In the past, most men didn't reach 60 except Methuselah, who lived to 969 years. Men commonly died at 40 in the past, so they weren't aware of andropause. It's only recognized in recent times. Could this explain the domination of men over women? I'm not saying justify, but that's what will explain it. It's the hormone. Gender differences originate from hormones.
Look, I don't know. Women didn't live long before, even when I was born. In the 70s, average life expectancy was 56 years. There was no gender division by Instituto Brasileiro de Geografia e Estatística, and the age was 54, not 56. I'm already at death's door. Back in the 60s, I don't know exactly what the average life expectancy was. So women, too, they only go through puberty and motherhood.
And are we sure that back in the caveman days, no one ever experienced andropause?
No, of course not.
Few reached that age because lifespans were short.
That's exactly why so many women are talking about this today. Because not only are we reaching this age, but we're going to spend a long time there. Possibly 20 to 30 years after menopause, from age 50 to 70, since average life expectancy is 76, but it could reach 90. So if you think about it, let me see, that's 40 years that you will spend in postmenopause.
This period is tough and remains difficult even after the worst is over.
So most women spend about 10 years still having symptoms. If you do hormone replacement, it gets better. Like I do hormone replacement and it's fine. A woman who can't do hormone replacement, who had breast cancer or had thrombosis, doctors talk about thrombosis. She can't do hormone replacement because the hormone increases her chances of getting cancer. So this woman, she's going to be in limbo. Now, the woman who can't afford hormone replacement, she's in limbo too.
Buying means having money to pay for medication.
So what happens? I'm not sure if I'm rambling or just saying a lot. What happens to this woman? The woman who takes 2 hours by bus to get to work, then works, and takes 2 hours by bus to get back home, this woman, she won't do it. Physical exercise. Physical exercise is one of the ways you can improve the symptoms, to relieve the symptoms. Not so much, okay? Because it's really the hormone that will get rid of most of them for you, not all of them. So, like a woman, she doesn't have time to exercise. She doesn't even really know what kind of exercise she should do.
She's not talking about poorer women.
Poor working women can't afford hormone replacement medication because they lack the money. She can't spare 10 reais. She only has bus fare for round trip. Today, there's a bill since 2019 to implement hormone replacement and proper treatment in the public health system, because it's not just one treatment. It's not only a gynecologist, you have more. When you have this low level of estrogen, which is our female hormone, our main hormone, you have low estrogen. You might have sad thoughts, you might feel more sensitive, just like we do during premenstrual syndrome, okay? Depression can affect women with a history of depression, postpartum depression, or a family history of depression. In other words, this woman has several doctors who will treat her. It's not just the gynecologist who will prescribe hormone replacement, but also a psychiatrist who will assess her condition. How is it? So sometimes she needs a rheumatologist because she might feel more joint pain, and it's not just related to aging. Anyway, there are many things that happen during menopause, many symptoms, and it takes a team to handle it. The treatment is multifactorial. A 2019 bill stalled in 2020, 2021, and 2022. This week, I managed to speak with the Congresswoman Isa Pina, who is working on this bill. So I had a meeting with her, I brought a doctor to talk about it, and the Ministry of Health requested some adjustments.
And do you want to change the bill?
I want to help. I want to help include what's necessary, the recommendation for hormone replacement.
Will you run for office? No.
None, but it's the way I have as a citizen to help with information, because sometimes the representatives have so much going on.
Do you think they still don't know the way to make this project happen? No.
They don't, because I read everything and talk to her, and she also asked for suggestions, and I brought a doctor. What happened? When I released my book, Menopause, which was in June, we went to the event where I launched this book, Menopause. As a journey, because it is, you saw that it's a journey. It's not just one day, it's a journey, and what a journey it is.
So it's just like my Project Infinite journey?
I see. I'll die doing it. When I launched it and we wanted to talk about this bill, we asked the Ministry of Health. When we asked what was available in the unified health system, they sent a list of hormones that are available in the unified health system for this woman. I gave it to 3 doctors, and 3 of the hormones that the Ministry of Health sent no longer exist. They're not even made. Something is happening because the Ministry of Health is saying something that is...
There's something going on.
There's something wrong.
There's corruption?
I'm not sure if there's corruption, but something's wrong. People need a doctor to say this one, because in the bill we can't say it. The Congresswoman explained to me, we can't say it. Look, it has to be estradiol, which is estrogen X. We can't, but we can make a recommendation for the medication and hormone replacement. If the Ministry of Health sent me the data, there isn't any. It doesn't arrive, and what there is old. Have you ever heard that hormone replacement causes cancer? Have you heard about that? Or is it not really on your radar?
It's on my radar, isn't it?
Before 2002, women in the United States widely used hormone replacement and everything was fine. And then in 2002, there was a study. And this study found that a certain hormone could lead to an increase in breast cancer. In 2002, this study led to it being demonized. It's all in my book. Hormone replacement was demonized because doctors were really unsure whether they could prescribe it or not. And suddenly, a woman could develop breast cancer. But the hormones they were talking about were hormones from a mare, from the urine, from a mare's urine, I don't know what, from a mare, something like that.
Like with COVID, when some people drank cow urine.
So that's where the hormone came from. This hormone that the Ministry of Health was recommending is that hormone, so...
When it's mare's urine?
Yeah, okay, I'll get it for you then, because it's an old hormone. It's not the bioidentical one. It's just that you, of course...
No, I didn't get it. You have to make it in the lab. You can't just collect it from nature like mushrooms.
You have to make a hormone that's the same as the one your body synthesizes. And this hormone from mare's urine, which is sometimes used... that these bodybuilders, I don't know, they use these things, right? I don't know about horses, not technically, okay? I know the investigation, so we can't use these anymore and these that are being recommended, so we need to organize all of this. And I, as a communicator, wrote a 280-page book about menopause, and I'm making a documentary about menopause. It was the least I could do to see where this bill is, and then I managed to, because the congresswoman was very open, I managed to reach her. We had a meeting, and she told us to make suggestions to include in the bill. If approved, it will go to the Health Committee, the Citizenship Committee, and several others. And she said that we can go there to help get it approved, because when we're there, things work. And then it goes to the Senate, and I'll see which senator I'll approach to try to get their support, or which female senator, so we can make this happen. There are 30 million women experiencing menopause. That is, between the perimenopause period, when the symptoms start, which can begin from your early 40s, all the way to postmenopause. 30 million. Rodrigo, that's a lot of people who could really be saved by hormone replacement therapy, yes, if prescribed by a doctor.
As long as it's done correctly.
If done properly, prescribed by a doctor and available.
In your book, you teach women how to deal with menopause. You give advice here.
No, not just advice. I explain all the hormones because this book was reviewed by doctors. It has interviews with doctors. This book, it opens with chapter 1. It's what you want to be now, a mature woman. Why? That question, it's asked to us like, what do you want to be when you're a child, right? The child, of course, says anything and ultimately isn't what she claims she'd be. At this moment of maturity that you're in, suddenly in this stage, in this middle of life, sometimes separating or separated or getting married. Yeah, you know, career transition is a moment when you have to stop and say, this is how I want my life to be for the next 40 years. It's a time to pause and reflect. So, Chapter 1 already brings this woman to think about that, you know, to reflect, and there are several charts, there are some really cool things.
So, a woman who reads your book comes out very well informed to face menopause completely.
Look, see here, the summary has a low
Changes in the body, hair and skin care, strong bones to protect the body's structure, sexuality. I was going to ask that. You said exercise helps with sex, helps reduce the effects of menopause.
When you say replacement, do you mean sex? What about people who don't have sex, whether they're in menopause or not? Sex brings more sex. It helps increase the desire to have sex. What happens at this stage isn't just a loss of libido for women. There really is a decrease in libido. Like even if Brad Pitt were walking right in front of me, if you don't...
Then you're lying.
I'm not lying. I'm telling the truth, Brad Pitt. When my hormones are low, when my hormone replacement ends and all that, I don't feel it. I don't feel like having sex or anything, but that's the thing. This woman also mixes up the loss of libido from menopause, which comes as a symptom of menopause, with the loss of libido related to life itself. Many are already 45, 50 years old. I'm already old, especially outside the main sex centers.
She's not just lacking desire for the man, she's lacking the desire to live.
To live like this. Many times, she's a woman who was oppressed, a woman who couldn't develop anything of her own. It's when the kids leave and it's just her and the guy who, without bad-mouthing him, is usually a jerk. He's cheating with someone who's 20 or 25, but why? Because cheating with a 25-year-old brings back youth for this guy who's 60. He feels renewed. So he's going to talk to this woman, and I speak from experience. Not because I went through it, but because I get a lot of messages from many women on my Instagram, and a lot of guys say this. She puts on lipstick. Oh, that lipstick looks ridiculous. Red lipstick. That lipstick looks ridiculous. You look like a clown because clowns wear it. Even her own children say, Mom, you don't get it, that's not for you, and so on about things like a shorter skirt. She gets criticized by her partner, who isn't really a partner anymore, who doesn't even sleep with her, nothing. The kids, either leaving home or acting like typical teenagers, always say no and don't appreciate or support her. She can't discuss all her feelings with another woman because menopause comes up, making her think, oh my God, I'm getting old.
Not even with her friend.
It's just that now this topic, it's coming up, everyone is talking about it, and...
You're helping with that, right? Good.
Right? It's the least we can do. 3 years ago, 4 years ago, no one talked about this. No one talked about this. Now here, I've already heard a lot of women say this. I still can, right?
It's not that I'm uninterested in the subject, that's all.
I'm not interested in that subject, even when signing autographs or giving lectures where I sell many books. Sometimes the woman doesn't keep the book by her side. She just does this. You don't want the menopause book. She doesn't want to have a picture with me that says menopause.
They don't include it because the book is always present in autograph photos.
Exactly. Look, we're gonna take a picture. She's here by my side. It says menopause. Then she's going to show this picture. Obviously, she lowers it. It's her lowering it, or she takes this book here. Look.
Lobas. Ah, this one is beautiful.
Lobas is great. Lobas is, look at the title, Lobas. I am a Loba. Now, at this moment, you can be a Loba, but within being a Loba, like you have menopause, and if you don't accept it, if you don't get informed, you're going to have a really hard time.
You mentioned men. I know very well how hard it is for men to understand what's happening too. What should I as a man know about menopause?
That your wife might become a certain way, more irritable. I think you sometimes notice before her period how your wife gets. Does she have a lot of symptoms or not?
She's really out of control now, right? I won't say much about her since I don't know if she'd like it, but she's not normal.
So what she usually feels before premenstrual syndrome, that's going to increase a lot. So she might have that sadness, that sadness she talks about. Oh, I see a margarine commercial with that family and I get sad. I see I don't know what and I get sad. Deep down, it's this drop in estrogen, so it can cause these very sad thoughts or even more anxiety or even depression.
And it will cause a lack of sexual desire.
Also a loss of libido. Yes, this woman doesn't want to have sex. What you can do, what both of you can do, is to understand and say something like this. Let's try, let's play, let's try different things. Let's go to a motel. Let's get some toys. We know we what?
There's a libido and it needs to be increased.
It needs to be worked on.
Because otherwise it will go down to zero.
Otherwise, it will go down to zero and she won't want to have sex at all. That's how it is for most. I'm not talking about everyone. Yes, because then it makes a cut, then it's the women. I'm great, my libido is wonderful. She's not telling the truth. Anyway, it happens to most women. Over 80% of Brazilian women experience these symptoms. Irritability is something that really gets to her. She gets very irritated with everything, like she wants to pick a fight. I'm already someone who always likes to put things in order, but I didn't actually get into a fight, right? But like, I don't know, I'm at a restaurant and the food should be like it says on the menu. It said it had this and that, but then something didn't come on the plate. At another time, it's okay, it didn't come, that's fine. But suddenly I get furious. I say, wait a minute, I think I'm paying here. It's on the menu. It's not possible that this restaurant doesn't do things right. I tell the waiter, this didn't really happen. And then the manager that it never came. Understand? You pick a fight more easily. You get irritated by a lot of things.
And you also get depressed.
And getting depressed is an up and down. It's like a girl's seesaw.
You also feel joy, right? Highs, ups, happiness, don't you?
It goes up.
Or does it just go back to normal?
Happiness? No, I think it just goes back to normal. I don't see peaks of happiness, that zest for life. I see that euphoria. No, wow, no.
From here on out, it's just...
But it stays down. It's like a seesaw. That's the seesaw. And she starts not understanding who she is.
Here's what happens. The man tries to help, gets screwed, and rightly so, because he doesn't know what to do and will mess it up.
How can a man help a woman?
First, men do buy my book. Men buy it, okay?
So my first task is to read your book.
My book and similar ones, yes.
Yes, but it's a good exercise.
It's already a good exercise. If you're not asking me why continue, is it everything a woman feels?
Many men are listening. If 10 read your book and 90 don't, what should those 90 know?
It's usually around 40 years old, 42 years old.
By the way, look here. The book is everywhere.
No, it's everywhere because, bookstores don't carry it, right? But if you go to my Instagram, Maria Cândida TV, there's a link there where you can buy it online.
All three are there. Only these two are.
These two are still around. This one is a relic and no longer made.
I have one and plan to sell it for a high price someday.
It's one day.
So is Lobus the first or is there no order? Well, it depends on the first one.
This one.
Yes. If she's 50, she should begin with this one.
I like this one because from 40 to 50, it shows all the nuances. What will happen? Here's how I begin. The book was published in May 2009. I was in my dressing room on television when, for no clear reason, I suddenly collapsed. It was my first panic attack. I was 38, had a 4-year-old daughter, and a marriage that, while good, was nearing its end. This happened before I traveled around the world interviewing 144 women, which led me to this book here. My panic attack caused me to collapse in my dressing room at Record Television, so I took time off and was in pain. No, I felt like this. I collapsed. You know when your leg...
A physical fall?
No, and then I crawled to the phone and told my producer, I'm dying. I had never been through this before, and then everyone came to help me. What happened? What was happening to me? I had swept everything under the rug. Everything that bothered me, I would sweep it under the rug and say, let's go. I was performing in a show I no longer wanted or felt passionate about. My marriage was fine, but me? I was in this motherhood role, which I prefer, older but not so little anymore and all that. I was dealing with a lot of things, a lot of gaps there until my body took me. It said, you're going to get treatment.
It was burnout.
It was in 2009. That's why I stayed for 2 years. I went straight to the psychiatrist and started taking antidepressants during those 2 months, trying to understand. I asked myself, what do I want to do? I want to travel the world, interview women, and find out how these women in the East are reacting to this women's revolution. What's happening with these women? That's when I realized I was in the right place and needed to do this. I returned, quit my job, and that was it.
And you got married during that time, right?
I was married for 10 years.
After your first divorce, wasn't there a relationship?
So there was dating, a web series.
There was a time I was dating, right?
No.
No.
Because it was a matter of saying no. I'd rather not say...
So let's not talk about it. You know what you haven't told me yet? You haven't told me? So, about the doc, have you already filmed it? What do you have? A feature film, or is it a series?
Is it a feature film and a documentary series?
From this same trip?
From this same trip?
It's already done, edited, it's in process, it's already, yeah?
It's edited, it's being color graded, scored, and the audio is being fixed. Why? I'm going with him in November to a Los Angeles fair to sell this material.
What's the name of the documentary?
Menopause Without Borders.
You're doing like the producer.
My producer, your producer, I opened a production company. It's called Hippolyta Films.
Have you qualified with On Scene and applied for the Rouanet law yet?
So I told you, this is quick. I got funding. Now that I ask everyone for money, I'll probably ask you next.
No, I'm going to ask you, hold on. You won't leave here without giving something, some support.
No, I don't have anything now, but when I return from Los Angeles, I'll support you too, okay?
But you're not broke, right? You managed to get back on your feet financially too, so...
In 2017 and 2018, I got back on my feet financially, paid off all my debts, and started over.
What? Sorry, what was it that raised your salary?
The salary? Where? On television, Aparecida? That was when you recovered, right? I did around 10 commercials a day and had a show.
My friend Father Mauro used to tell me there. I liked you a lot, even back then.
And I did a lot. And he paid me well. I mean, not really well, but he paid me a salary that allowed me to get myself reorganized. Then, after I left television Aparecida, I started looking at my phone and began recording content on my phone with a selfie stick. Have you heard this story of mine about the selfie stick? No. So I talk about this a lot because the selfie stick was my salvation. The selfie stick was my salvation. Because I used to record content. I'm telling you, I'll show you here. I used to record content. And when you record like this, whether it's horizontal or vertical, but when you record like this, you get really close. When you use a selfie stick, you give it space, you give it depth, you can show things behind you which you can't do here. So when I used the selfie stick, without people noticing that I had a selfie stick, I started doing interviews. I would interview someone here by my side. I would move over here, move over there, turn it here, turn it to the person.
They weren't noticing.
No, she knew I had the selfie stick.
Oh, okay.
She knew, so I would turn. I did all the camera movements with the phone. I began making a product, though I didn't realize it was one, about interesting things in Sao Paulo and started uploading it to YouTube. I sent it to a friend from Television Globo in 2019. That's when they saw it and said, we want to do that for Edicasa. And then they hired me, so I became a producer. Basically, I was hired and worked as a producer. I produced the whole segment.
I remember that time.
So I made more than 80 episodes for Edicasa, all edited by myself. Everything was edited by me.
I used to film alone, right?
I had someone who filmed for me, who worked with me, but they weren't a cameraman. Why? The main goal was to bring some of the internet to broadcast television and online. Back then, I seemed old, not due to age, but my style, though I was new to television. I used hashtags, some stickers and stuff, and my editor was a YouTube editor, so he would edit like that. He would make one cut, then another cut. They aired 29 minutes of this segment, though it was meant to be 15, and I produced the whole thing. I didn't know I had a production company. It was like the beginning of producing and creating content. From then on, I understood that I was a multi-platform content creator for television, for the internet, for this, for that.
And then money started coming in.
Basically, what I earned from Globo, which was very little, half of what I earned from Globo, I paid 2 people who worked with me, plus this editor, I earned nothing.
But then you hit a positive streak.
I started making money. I started making money when I started doing advertising on the internet. And I do a lot of skincare, a lot of creams for the skin and everything. I started doing advertising for the internet. I don't do it for small companies. I only do it for, but that's not advertising, that's positioning.
It was here.
Then I took a picture with no makeup at all, because that's the trend right now, right? Plenty of cream. I'm all for it. We need it, but we should use it responsibly and not go overboard. So that's my stance, not injecting myself with a million things. You don't need that much stuff. You need to look in the mirror and like what you see. It's okay to want to change something, but don't get obsessed. So I was in Rio working, and the ocean was right in front of me. Then I thought, I'm going to take a picture without any makeup because it means a lot, and it really worked. So it's a mix of taking a stand, my statements, and advertising. I didn't advertise much this semester because I was focused. I traveled for 2 months. I was focused on the documentary, but today my income comes from advertising, from giving lectures, which I started doing when I got back from this trip here, but I used to do it only once a year, on Women's Day. Last year, I gave 16 lectures in Bahia in the month of March for Sebrae, 16 lectures. And they pay well, like they pay much more than I used to make at Rede Globo. That's why there came a time last year when I had to choose whether I would stay and continue with the basics of television, doing those things I was doing, which I was already tired of, or I would dedicate myself to everything I'm dedicating myself to now. So I left in May.
May of what year?
From last year.
Globo, right? I thought I'd have more time.
I joined in 2019 and left in 2024, and then I said 30 years of television and I'm not going back to television anymore. That's it.
Did that hold you back in your projects too? Yes.
It was, but it's hard to let go, right? Isn't it? Television has a very strong emotional memory.
For people you say no to me, to yourself.
Since I was born on television, I began in journalism.
Calm down. You're bringing up exactly what I wanted to discuss. How it all started.
Okay?
But I'd like to discuss that in the second act of our show, Maravilla.
Let's go. Let's... God.
So many books. Yours already had a spot here, the other one didn't.
But now that's cool. Nice. And then we eat, drink. Here we eat and drink.
Not sure if you want wine with me.
So I'm not drinking much wine, but I can. What do you have there?
No, just the non-alcoholic one here.
I prefer non-alcoholic grape and apple juice.
Bro, that's why we're not drinking from a little glass. Where is it? It's not here, so I'll use this one instead.
You have a microphone over there, but if you want to stay, I switched places. No problem. It's up there. Oh, I see it now.
Oh, okay.
That's fine. You can stay here too. We're not stuck.
Okay. If you want to discuss advertising numbers, we can do that.
People are interested in learning for those who want to follow this path. It's cool, right? But we promised back there.
Okay, oops. How it all started?
The promise was to discuss how it all began in the second act. Here, we're meant to feel much more comfortable than there.
All right, over there we went through a lot of very important things, okay? And here we're going to keep talking about important things. But the idea is to share the table here, eating together.
All right. So let's get started. Let's go.
First, I just want to thank our partner, Cândida, who sends us these wonderful things. Everything is from Brazil, okay? I think that's really cool. They're all wonderful Brazilian cheeses of different types.
Cândida has a store in Jardins and another in the East Zone. So I want to thank Cândida here.
Because Jardins is close to my house.
It's great. Where is it?
I have the address here. Melo Alves, on Melo Alves Street. And the other one is in Vila Regente Feijó in the East Zone. So,
It's delicious.
It's wonderful. They're sending us these things. Thank you so much to Elvio and Priscilla, the store owners, for sending this.
I'll visit you one day, okay?
You're going to like it. And you started when you were 20 as a girl from... No,
No, wait.
I'm wrong.
I didn't start in a newspaper, wait.
so my ignorance is greater than...
Because Weather Girl has a stereotype of being pretty and dumb.
No, that's not it, right? I'm not talking about you. But in general, weather girls aren't just pretty faces. They're not dumb or just randomly picked.
Yeah, but you just feel really bad. I used to feel really bad. There's a Fola cover where I was talking with an umbrella. I already touched it. Then I was talking with an umbrella. Something about how I didn't want to be the weather girl. Something like that. I don't remember. It was a statement I made. Because I make some statements, sometimes people don't believe me, right? Because I end up talking, because that's how I am. I talk, and then...
Man, that causes problems. It's already caused problems.
It's already caused problems. When I was an employee...
Sure, no thank you.
As an employee, I sometimes said a few things. Once, I was on Sistema Brasileiro de Televisão Reporter, where I spent quite a bit of time doing stories around the world and so on. Then Vejas São Paulo wanted to interview me and all from that Paulista terrace, and they were talking, imagine a reporter, right? Talking. At one point, she said, "So how is it?" Because I think she wanted to get something. And the audience, how is it? I said, well, it's about 10, 12 points. Sometimes it gets up to 15 and all. It's not Jornal Nacional's audience. But it's really cool, something like that. It's not Jornal Nacional's audience. But she was like, wow. I think I went a month without doing any reports. My boss wouldn't even look at me.
Was it the same person who said you could return?
No, it was someone else.
That's it, let's go. You didn't coordinate the time? No one knows.
Let me see. I've had a boss who let me... in the newsroom, reading the newspaper for 3 months, coming in the morning, leaving at 6 in the evening without doing any reporting. Because she was hired to try to go out with me, to try to sleep with me. I've been through a lot.
How did that story end?
It ended with me going afterwards. I think in the first one, when he got tired, because people get tired, I don't even remember if someone else showed up. But after he got tired, I started doing reports, and my reports got a lot of audience. And then I think he said, she gets much more audience working than here. I wanted to get with the woman, so I did a lot of things and a lot of good things.
So you overcame the abusers with your competence.
I overcame the abusers with my competence, but at a specific point there was one abuser I didn't overcome.
It was the one who fired you.
It was the one who fired me.
That's unforgettable and unforgivable.
Because he intercepted my professional life, and that was hard for me. I always did everything the right way. I was always very proper. I always dedicated myself a lot. And suddenly something happened. I have a hard time dealing with things that aren't real. When someone says something, I always tell the person everything. I don't really know how to deal with that kind of thing. When people talk with things that aren't real, things they don't say to my face, that's just fake to me. And that's what happens a lot, right? On the internet, you don't have that. Not that I don't have it, but you have it much less. You see people collaborating with each other like that. I'm doing something for mature women, then I have another person who does makeup for mature women. We do a collab because both of us will grow, Collabs are very welcome.
On television, it's partnership. Online, it's a collab.
Young people do this a lot, like how they make a podcast go viral. One invites the other, and then the other brings in a big audience. He supports you, and then, when you need to be supported, you go. So they make this exchange, and they're always there, growing together, because they know there's room for everyone, especially on the internet, right? Now on television too. That's what we've always seen. They let you go only up to a certain point. If you threaten someone, even unintentionally, but this here,
So who are you threatening? The boss or your coworker?
both.
You got tricked by a coworker. You mentioned the boss, but it was a coworker.
Boss, coworker, you don't know?
There was already competition for a position.
Like this now. At this moment that I'm in, and for the past 7 years, I've been very determined about what I want. People know that I don't want television, they know that I want the internet, that my path is different and all, so I don't erase anyone, I'm not there trying to take anyone's place.
Is that all? Online, everyone has space and no one bothers anyone.
I think there's room for everyone if you do it well, if you follow some internet rules. Yeah, I think everyone can grow.
And if someone cool shows up talking about the same topic you talk about,
We complement each other.
it won't bother us.
No. For example, many people now discuss menopause without having experienced it themselves.
Did you hear yourself? No.
There are a lot of people talking. Because menopause itself is when you go 12 months in a row without menstruation, then you've entered menopause. Perimenopause. Peri means around menopause. Perimenopause can last up to 8 years. So if the average is 50, a woman can start at 42. Most women get symptoms at 45 or 46, not earlier. I see many people online discussing it who haven't even started.
A 20-year-old girl?
Is talking about menopause, but I think it's good. No, 20 years old, but I think it's good. All of this because deep down my goal is to help women. It's not my way of doing things. It's different from how others do it. So, I have some things that will connect me with a certain woman, and that woman might see me, and she might see the other one, and she might see another one. I don't only discuss menopause. With me, for example, it was the same thing when I started on the internet. The people who were already on the internet would say, oh, she's from television, she's going to get more views. That's not true. That's not true. There are women from the internet who have more followers than I do. Much more. And they've never been on television. That myth is over. It doesn't matter if you've been on television or not. That's in the past.
Even people from the internet don't perform well on television. There's no obligation, and the platforms don't really connect, right? I think your transition is rare.
I agree. Danilo Gentili too.
Also said that to you, didn't he?
He came from
He's also a rare case, is he?
and he made it, although he was already on CQC when he transitioned to television, but he's a native. No thank you. Well, I walked there, he's native to the internet. But when I was the weather girl, deep down, I started in journalism at 19 years old.
In which city?
São Paulo, you know that, right? I started in Rio de Janeiro because I had a class that was about television journalism. And then I went to cover an award, the Libero Badaro. I interviewed several nominees.
Which college were you at?
At Pontifical Catholic University São Paulo, I interviewed several nominees and spoke with many professionals in São Paulo. In those, an internship came up at JB Great. It's at JB and JB at that time.
I wanted to work there, but I never did.
Everyone wanted to. It was every student's dream. And I never wanted to work in television exactly because of that stereotype of the pretty but dumb girl. No, I never wanted to. So how did you get in?
By chance? My friends submitted my resume to Globo for a contest, but I told them not to because I wanted to work at Jornal do Brasil. No, we'll take it since we already work together. Both of them got in too, so the three of us are in the contest starting soon. Globo News. Okay, but I didn't want to. I say no, I don't like television. Television is superficial, and in the end, there's a lot of that, right? Television, like you said, has a lot of untruths, right?
No, I think you can't develop as much as you do in the newspaper, right? But I like those shows, for example, that have commentators. Can you believe I understand more from the commentator than from Jornal Nacional since the report is only a minute and a half? It keeps changing direction so quickly, especially now, right? With everything happening, there are so many details that I only really catch when I listen to a lot of radio, especially Christian Broadcasting Network and news stations, because the commentators help me understand everything clearly. And another thing, with the internet, you can pause, go back, rewind, all that. I have a video from the very beginning of my time on the internet that says play, pause, and rewind, play, pause, and rewind, girl, play, pause, and rewind. Why? You can learn absolutely everything, physics that you never learned in your life. You find a teacher on the internet. They're great on YouTube. When I studied with my daughter, I said, my God, what I couldn't understand in high school. Why? I went back about 10 times because I didn't understand, just kept repeating. I mean, you can go back, watch as many times as you want until you understand. So that's wonderful, isn't it?
It's good. It's really good.
Because the information repeats. You can...
You know, right? Television and radio still have their roles, actually. I love radio. Radio is phenomenal. Yeah, it will never end. I believe television might end someday, but radio won't.
I don't think television will end, no.
But the way we know it, it keeps changing, right?
Yes.
But radio is phenomenal. I love radio. But what we're doing here, what you're doing on all your channels, all of this has a lot of value, right?
And it's you who decides.
So, and then you control it. You decide. You have your own channel. That's wonderful because when I take it, I'm someone who provokes a lot on the internet, right? I post photos in swimsuits, cellulite, your photos here. I don't even know if you left the microphone. Look.
Investigate. No, we'll solve this. It's not a problem. We're not going to solve this here right now. Look.
You said it because you were talking.
Because I post pictures in swimsuits with cellulite, so it was this one here. Wow, this one is used a lot, right? For a reporter, for a journalist, it's used a lot.
At what point in your career were you? Here?
Now it's 2020 and all, but at Globo.
And then what was it? This photo?
Is it the photo? I was getting a tattoo over one of my scars and I decided to show it. Many women have scars, like C-section scars. Sometimes a tattoo over it looks nice, so I have one on mine. Here and sometimes here too, women don't.
Like it covered the scar?
It covered the breast reduction scar. And many women also who have their breast removed and all that. And sometimes the nipple doesn't look perfect here in the middle, so you can maybe get a cool tattoo. So I wanted to show, no.
But you could have taken this photo back when you were a girl, during a relationship.
There's no way you would have been sent away on the same day. Absolutely not. Never.
So the internet too?
Not even hair the way we wanted. We could have internet.
It's also total freedom.
That's why I feel very happy on the internet. That's how it is. It's my space. It's where the internet is what I've always looked for. On television, I managed to do a few things.
If you missed it, you weren't seeing it. It was right in front of you, the internet, right there. You didn't see it in 2010.
And what's more, look, I see that I was tuned in because I love trends. I study trends a lot. I'm very curious. And like my Twitter, which doesn't exist anymore, but I opened it. If I opened the Twitter Cândida 2010, it means I was already following the Twitter movement and social networks in 2010. But I had to go broke, fall, ask for a lot. Believing I wasn't suited for television or video, doubting myself and thinking I was terrible, just led me to eventually discover the internet. Listen, humans who interact with Santos,
Not very different.
you who handle Santos and all that is sacred. Why does a human being have to walk, stay in the desert, with Paulo in the desert there, walk so he can speak?
It looks like a vision.
You exist, you know? Why do we have to struggle so much?
It's because we're dumb,
Maybe
or because we take a while to get smart.
we don't have sensitivity, you know? Some things we don't value the things we should value, you know?
I think there's also something about us having a tendency to do what's easier. I'm on television, they're paying me, I'm seeing something cool, but it's way ahead.
There are two birds flying. It's easier to keep one bird in your hand, but usually, for competent people like you, it's about going after the two birds flying. It's a goal to pursue. And we often think, my bird is in hand, so I'll stay quiet, that's all. I think that's why people like you and me took a while to see it. That there were two birds, not 2 million birds flying.
Yes, more millions, many birds flying.
And lots of money, millions. You'll be rich soon.
So why? Because the episode is sold for $200,000 to $300,000.
To a Netflix-type company, a Netflix...
So, when I did it, I started editing, and I'm creating the documentary series, which has already been created. I didn't think about selling it here in Brazil
And I'm not thinking about it now either. No.
No, the prices are much lower.
because the prices are lower. And secondly, it's a global topic. What I'm doing is traveling across all the continents. It's a completely different perspective from what's being shown because there are already documentaries in the United States
About menopause.
about menopause. Oops, wow.
But he's a doctor.
He's a doctor and a celebrity, you know? So it's really just about being a doctor and a celebrity. No one actually goes to the place. For example, in Mexico, I interviewed a wonderful doctor, a gynecologist, and she said there are already studies. It's not statistics, because statistics take time for you to observe. There are already studies saying that women who are at a higher altitude, like in Mexico City or in Cusco, for example, where I went, which is 3,800 meters, she goes into labor. She may enter menopause earlier, meaning all the symptoms appear sooner. Due to atmospheric pressure and limited oxygen, ovarian failure occurs earlier. Look at that. Someone's talking about this, right? I think it's a discovery. Of course. So you're a traveler, right? Have you ever been? I'll only go if I'm there. Rodrigo, I won't be able to do it, you know?
I visited Comuna 13 in Medellin, Pablo Escobar's Comuna 13, where women were sweating. Everything reminded me of drug trafficking, but they said that's no longer the case.
There's nothing like that anymore. Now it's become a tourist spot and all. And this woman I interviewed, she works in a restaurant in the hot kitchen. Sweat dripping like that. She was like this. Sweat.
Sweat. I'll write that down in my notebook. Word learned today.
No, my book covers it all. You know what I should have brought? Sweats?
Let's explain it properly.
No, wait, let me tell it. So in Colombia, she was here sweating. This woman, she shouldn't work in a hot kitchen. In other words, her feeling, her perception. According to the doctors, hot flashes are worse for her when she's in a hot temperature than if she were, I don't know, in Patagonia. If she had the same hot flash there, she would suffer less. Do you understand that what I'm looking for is something that maybe no one else is looking for?
That's the documentary's essence.
And reporter, and of the reporter, because that's not it, because today I'm not on television. A reporter's job is investigative and driven by curiosity. I'm also investigating indigenous peoples, so
Brazilians outside of Brazil as well, for example.
Across Latin America, I found interviews with indigenous and mixed-race people everywhere I went. There's one from a tribe, 2 women, Shipibo, the tribe there in Lima. They were from the Peruvian Amazon, and then they went, I don't know what happened, and so on. They ended up moving because there are few. They live in a lot of poverty in the jungle and so on. So they moved with their whole family to a community on the outskirts of Lima. They didn't have any symptoms or anything, and they started having symptoms when they moved to the city. So there are some things that if you're a good observer and pay attention, you connect one point here, you connect another there. It's not statistics. It's nothing like that. And I don't want to prove anything to anyone. I just want to show it clearly. Then the woman who's watching says, me too. When I go to the beach, my symptoms get worse because I feel an unbearable heat, you know? So, like, I should spend more time in the cold during my vacations, maybe. So that's what I want to do in Africa. Here I am.
You, Japan, Korea, I'm going.
It's going to be wonderful.
You request more funding?
Yes, why? Not just the funding. What I hope is that by next year I will have sold this first one, you will have sold it. Look at what will happen in 2030. There's a global number of 1, a worldwide number of 2 billion women in the climacteric, which is from the beginning of the symptoms until the end.
That's what climacteric is.
Climacteric covers everything from the first symptoms to after menopause, okay? Menopause is when, after we go 12 consecutive months without menstruation, we enter menopause. Perimenopause, it's what comes before menopause. Postmenopause is what comes after menopause. All of this is the climacteric. There will be 1.2 billion women in the world in the climacteric.
That's a lot of people. It's about 1/6 of the world's population, more or less.
We don't know how this population will multiply, but anyway, it's a lot of people, and that's what you said, right? On television, we can't really do anything. Seeing the trend now, I'm able to. Why? In 2026, I'll be in Africa, 2027, Asia and Oceania, 2028, Europe, 2029, United States. If I can make it to 2030 when there's the 12 billion boom, I'll already have the whole series ready. Wonderful, it's just that I'm really enthusiastic about it, but you will make it. I think I'll make it too. I'm practicing English because I haven't spoken it in a long time and feel rusty. I'm practicing with my AI. It works great. Can you believe it? You can pick your teacher. Sometimes, if the teacher talks too much and you say, "You're speaking too fast," she'll apologize and slow down a bit. Then I say what you want to talk about. I talk about menopause and she goes, important topic and all. Then I start talking about menopause and she talks too. That's it. They say, for example, women, they are going through menopause. You know, there aren't terms that I'm practicing because when I have 10 minutes in front of someone, I need to know how to speak, right?
Are you determined?
I am in all I do. My mom says so. For what Maria Cândida wants, we don't need to worry right now. When she doesn't want something like cost stuff, paperwork, geez, yeah, now I have to deal with those things, right?
I see you have someone helping you with those things.
Yes, I have a secretary who helps me, but some things I still need to handle myself.
The phone is ringing. I'll answer it real quick, okay? Normally I wouldn't interrupt, but it's ringing. Hello, hey. Man, it's been a while.
Director? You see, right? She's amazing, man. I love her, and she's killing it.
There was one of the biggest, the 4th largest network in the world. But she already said to say it like that. She's asking if you want to go back to television.
Tell her that I'm really grateful and everything. I'm flattered, but no.
No, she thanked them and said they were wonderful.
Can I show it? Yes, here it is. Wait, there's a photo. She mentioned it. Are you going to relive those moments?
What if I go back to television for 5 minutes with each actor?
Yeah, no, Morgan Freeman, here's Meryl Streep. She's going to relive everything.
Ah, you could be a correspondent in Los Angeles.
Tell him that I want it now.
Do you want to speak directly? Speak.
Hi, how are you? So here's the thing. My plan is to reach out to these women I interviewed, like Meryl Streep, Kate Winslet, women like Cameron Diaz, who are talking about this, Reese Witherspoon. Reach out to them, maybe to be my associate producer on my documentary series.
No, she won't accept.
Because if I go back to television, I'll be going back to something I've already done, so I prefer not to. I'll sell you content, but if you won't pay, I'll go with the foreigners. I've already chosen, right?
He keeps insisting you don't want it. Did you see that?
He said the salary is 6 digits, over 100,000 Rees.
And what if I sell an episode of my most recent one for $200,000?
That's over $1 million, you see? He said that over the course of a year, it will reach that amount.
No one's ever offered me that. Maybe just Santa Claus would.
What do I do with this guy?
So tell him that I really appreciate it and that I want to keep in touch because I want to sell content to them.
Send him over here.
No.
Look, it was really cool. So, you see, it was super cool.
I'm really grateful.
You can watch it later, since you saw the show and might recommend it to others. What if your own show is boring, right? All right then? Thank you. No, not me. Are you crazy? Bye. Thank you. No, I don't want it. No. There, it's settled.
I have just one thing to say. Let's move to the third act.
Yeah, that's about you.
My grandfather, wow, an Air Force pilot.
Wow, he fought in a war. That's cool.
So he patrolled Brazil? Brazil only sent 22 total, right? Aviators to Italy at the time, right? From the Second World War. And he stayed patrolling Brazil. Oh, how nice, right?
Wow, that's good. You get to rest, right? We don't do that.
That's the point of the third act. We sat and talked, then moved to the kitchen and chatted more lively while standing.
Now we can lie down and reflect for a while. Can you take time for yourself? You always seem restless. Can you pause and reflect?
Yes, I meditate. I meditate before going to sleep. And when I'm really restless, and I notice that I'm not being productive or that I'm anxious, you know? When that anxiety starts to bother me a little, I stop. There are meditations that last 10, 15, or 20 minutes. If I'm somewhere with a bed, I don't know, you know. I put on headphones, I grab my cup, I look around and meditate. I feel much better afterward. It's a bit of breathing, a bit of focusing on something else that brings you relief.
It's an emotional matter, right? You're always traveling, always working. Are you able to make time for your own personal matters? Emotional, family, love, relationships, your daughter? Are you able to dedicate as much as you'd like?
People complain about me because my life, it's been like 80% of my life. Sometimes it's even more dedicated to work, right? Because work for me is what drives me. It moves me. I like it, you know? I like doing what I do. I like going after things I discover, talk to different people like that. So work gives me pleasure. It's always been that way. I remember my boss used to say this. A headache can inspire a story idea that relieves it. It's true, I change, you know? I transform myself, and I'm not. Even though everyone thinks I'm super rich, I don't know, I look like I'm rich, but I came from a lower middle class family.
What did your parents do?
My father was an engineer, and my mother was an educator, a teacher.
The salary wasn't very high.
Not an average salary. So during the crisis that Brazil went through, we went through tough times, you know? Not really tough times.
Right there in our lap. We took it. The family is ours.
We took it. We really took it hard. It's because my father had a company, a small consulting and engineering company, and it wasn't easy, no. And my mother, she was a principal. She retired as a principal, from a school, so it's a retirement, well. Well, but they were the people who gave me, without them, I would never have this drive. No, the drive is mine. But search, read, values and all that. It's this attitude of never giving up. It's something my father always encouraged in me.
You're saying that? It reminds me of a book that really impressed me. When I was learning Spanish, I read El Perseguidor by Cortázar. And the impression I have of you is that you're a pursuer in the Spanish sense of the word, that you're chasing after something, which also works in Portuguese. You're always chasing after something, as if you never find it and just keep pursuing that thing.
That makes sense.
Absolutely, that makes sense. First, I consider myself kind of a survivor, of many things I've been through that shook me, tried to bring me down, and I didn't let them. And what I say usually has to do with what I go through. If today I'm talking about menopause, it's because I realized I needed to understand it, and I saw how many women don't have information, and we need to talk about this. Including the documentary Ele o que ele quer. He wants to seek more information and more discovery so that other people can learn about a herb. A tea that works in Africa or in Mexico and that she hasn't tried here, And suddenly it might help, so that's the goal.
But that's the goal we're seeing. But there's always a goal, and I notice it. And I think that's what I understand. In you. There's a goal that only you are seeing. There's a very personal goal of yours, and that's actually what drives you. It makes sense.
It makes sense.
And it's related to that issue of leaving television back then.
No, it's not related to childhood trauma. It has nothing to do with television. No, that's not what it was. Some things in my childhood made me want to be this fighter, Wanting not to depend on anyone, never wanting to shape my own path. But that too. Rodrigo left me alone, very alone. I'm capable of living alone, and that's okay.
But what happened?
And then, father stuff, mother stuff, those things.
But what was it?
Separation. That too. But I'd rather not get into that too much. It's more of a therapy topic. But it was that trauma or that story that made me become this persistent fighting woman. And no, I don't accept it. No, I go all the way. I keep trying, and I go all the way. If by any chance I realize that it's over, okay, I leave. But that's my story and that's my motivation. But, like I told you, this connection I have with work and always wanting to have my own money, not depending on people, sometimes leaves me in a lonely place. Now I got married, right? At 54 years old, I got married. I found a really great person and all. But I have a video where I say I would never get married, more than 3 years ago, Because I kind of understood that this wasn't my place, for example, I saw myself traveling the world, doing other things, right? Sometimes I wondered if being feminine was really for me, because this combative attitude isn't really that feminine. I mean, now it's more feminine, right? But in my time it wasn't, when I was little and all. Also, I never had the dream of getting married. I don't know.
So you're saying femininity isn't for you?
I'm not sure if it isn't, okay? I'm working on my femininity now. Why? Because my husband tells me that I don't. I don't make room for my own well-being, you know? Moments of tranquility and things from family life and everything that are super important. So I've improved a lot in that regard. I'm not just about work anymore. Yeah, I'm not that person anymore. I'm determined, but I make room now that I didn't before. I didn't make any room at all. So I pushed a lot of people away, people I could have had relationships with.
You were too harsh.
It's because I come right out and say, oh, I don't like this. Oh, because I do this and that. People really do get scared, right? Really? So I think it's a very masculine attitude that I had to have in my profession. I think all the women who started back in the 90s had to have that attitude. Because we would go out in the news car. There was the driver, the audio cameraman, and sometimes the lighting operator too. All men, 3 or 4 men. And making the jokes, you know, they make, just imagine back in the 90s. So I had to become one of the guys. I had to listen to those jokes and kind of be part of their group. You know what I mean? Things that I didn't just turn a blind eye to and let slide, because otherwise I would have been cut out. I couldn't do that. Every technician has always been a man. The technician who goes out on the street, always a man. I had a female camera operator at Record. She was fantastic. Her name was Sandra. But today, now that we have women in the studio, camera operators and all, it wasn't like that before. So either you adapt and show what you're here for, or they tear you down.
So, all this determination of yours, I don't know if it's really determination, but all this struggle of yours comes from the issue of men's oppression over women.
I'm not sure if all my struggle is about this oppression. It comes from this oppression, but yes. Events of male oppression and lack of care led me to have, yes. I understand a lot of things. I think we have to work together. The best thing in the world would be for us to work together, you know? There are important things to develop in men. I think they need to develop a bit more of the feminine within themselves. For example, when you walk into a meeting room to sell something, you can't be, you know, all nice with a sweet voice. You can't. You have to come in strong, you know? Was it because you spent more time negotiating? It's a relatively new role for us, so I think both sides need to improve there. Now, there's the rate of femicide and of total psychological abuse, sexual abuse. All of that happens to women. We know it. Sometimes there are men who ask me, why don't you talk about men? And so on. I spoke for the boys are abused. That's horrible, right? That's terrible. The rates of women who die are extremely high, and we need to get these women out of there, out of that place. They need to earn their own money. After returning from the 2009 trip with Dos Mulheres, I had no doubt at all that financial power brings freedom. It will bring freedom to this woman. I have no doubt about it. RODRIGO. Maybe I'm wrong and everyone agrees. I see, visualize, and interview the stories. A woman who has her own money is free to leave a house where there is abuse. Imagine if she has nothing when she has children, dependents, and everything. So I tell women, these entrepreneurs, when I give talks and everything, even if you still have your own money. But even if it's just a little bit, right? A little bit is already a lot. It's because women, they need to have financial power.
And what is going to make you rest one day?
I'm never going to rest. Rest from what, you know?
From this search or yours?
There's a lot in the world, right? And a lot inside us. You can't rest.
20 years from now, we'll be talking about another topic, and you'll still be chasing something.
Because I love it, right? I feel alive because when I'm chasing something. Yeah, I'm traveling, I'm talking, I'm discovering for myself. I'm not just discovering for other people, I'm discovering for myself. That's very interesting to me. I love it, right? My next book is Silver Economy. It's just that I started having background anticipating deep down, and I'm saying I've already mentioned it in lectures about this gigantic demographic shift that we're going to see, and Brazil will have 30 years to change, while France had more than 200 years to change. So there is an economy, and there are a lot of things that will come up, a lot of products that will appear that are already out there in the world, right? So I'm working a lot right now. This is the issue of the silver economy, which is also something very interesting to me because I am part of the silver economy. You too, silver economy. You just don't have gray hair yet, but you are part of the silver economy too.
Yes. Maria Cândida, the winning follower.
Oh, delightful. Thank you. Being interviewed by you, who are an amazing journalist, is a huge pleasure. Thank you so much. You really get into tough questions, you know? For me, tough questions. I think you studied psychology. You were hiding your skills.
My brother is a psychologist.
That's it.